Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Simply Colorful Fibercast. Today's date is July 10th, 2020. My name is Lynn Marquidant, and I'm your host. Welcome. Today, we're going to be working on another UFO project, a half-square triangle quilt. It's going to be a lap quilt made with some Kaffe fabric, which I love, Kaffe facet. But before we get into that, and we're going to see how many of those we can sew together, I wanted to show you how the BC quilt turned out. It's all ready to be bound. So thank you everyone for your input. We ended up going with a gold border and then a lot more BC fabric. And I quilted it with angels, which somehow seemed fitting, very more feminine. Let's see if you can see the angel. Oh, and I forgot to turn on a light. There we go. There's an angel head. Hi, KB. Yay. Hi, Kim. Are you going to be having a block of the month? Oh, thank you, Kim. Hi, Carol. Yes. Oh, I'm glad you think it's fitting. I thought it was too, for our grace. So thank you everyone for your input. I'm going to put this aside. I went with the scrappy, but I kept it all the dark maroon because I didn't have enough of the solid maroon, Carol. But I think it'll be okay. It's all dark. So happy Friday, everyone. Let me put this over here. And like I say, this is, do you remember we started this? Ooh. Has to be at least half a year ago. And I pulled it out of my bag. This was where it all was. I started it over at Studio on the Hill. Hi, Mom. I'm glad you're there. Oh, hi, Pat. And hi, Misty. I'm new here. Wonderful, Kimberly. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to Fibercast. It's very informal. We see what we can do in 60 minutes, sometimes a little less. We're in our 7th year, and we're glad to have you along. It's just a way for us to get together and see what we can accomplish in a period of time. And like I say, it used to be 60 minutes. Sometimes I cut it short these days. Before I go any further, I am reminded of how much I like this ruler. Block-a-lock. Oh, that you can't see that either. I used it to trim up, trim up these half-square triangles. I love it. So what I thought I would do, and I've started to a little bit, is just pull down these quarters, these 4s, and I'll do it together, and then I'll put it back up like I did this one. And then I'll just put it up. And then I can still rearrange it somewhat before I put it together. And I'm just going to do a lap size quilt. And maybe I'll have it done in time for our fence show. Jean Birchman. Oh, let me turn on a light. Another light. There we go. I have to tell you, our community is very fortunate to have a woman, Jean Birchman, who she organizes things when the community needs them. And these are big things. You know, our 300th anniversary of the town, she led that. And it was just a wonderful event with fireworks and everything. So she just kind of knows when the community needs things, and she's she works full-time, right? Well, she has decided, and with a lot of help from the Marathon Quilters, that she wanted to drive a fence quilt show, an outdoor quilt show. So next Sunday, we're going to all be putting our quilts on some fences in Hopkinton, Massachusetts. It's just for 5 hours. I don't know what we do if it rains. I haven't gotten that far. But this would be a fun one. something bright. If not, I'm sure I have a quilt or two in my closet to pull out. I've committed to supplying 2 for the fence. And I want to hang my Freedom quilt, the one that so many of you have completed, Carol and Karen, and who else completed it? Anyway, Leah. But it might be too big for our fence. One of the fences is quite low, but we'll see. So everyone, welcome Kimberly to the party. Kimberly, you asked about a block of the month, and I wasn't going to do it, but we certainly could do a block of the month. I don't think we've ever done one of those here at Simply Colorful. We've done mystery quilts, which you can find on the Simply Colorful website, and we're kind of late on those. We were going to do that BC quilt as a mystery quilt. We started out 1 week, and then what happened? I didn't write the clues. I basically fell down on the job. And we ended up making it just an ad hoc type of quilt. Hey, Leah! Oh, yes. Oh, and Maggie. Simple, yes. Oh, and Linda. The roadside quilt event sounds fabulous, doesn't it? Just what we need. Add a little color. While I'm waiting for this to heat up, I'm going to do another one. And I spin my seams because, as you can imagine, there are some points here when you're sewing these together that could get bulky under the machine. So what's been going on this week? How are the gardens growing? Turns out, this is kind of fun. Aww. Now I need to make sure that I put these together. So I'm webbing these 4 together as always, and then I don't iron them because I want to spin the seam in the center here to remove the bulk. Anyway, speaking of gardening, so I'll go first, and then I want to hear what everyone's growing and what they're starting to eat, if anything. My mother and sister put me to shame with their gardens. I don't know how they grow the things they do. But what I have growing, and I tasted it, and I knew it tasted unique. I have red veined sorrel, sorrel. My mother found out what it was. I thought it was spinach. It was not labeled when I bought it. Up at Angel's. Yeah, that's where I bought it. Angel's Garden Center. And it tastes like lemon. It's very strong, and it has not become very big. It only grows in a clump like that. Ooh, that's pretty. How can you go wrong with Kaffe Facet fabrics? You really can't. And with this block lock, I've literally trimmed them all up. And the block lock has a piece of the plastics actually cut out. So it's routed out. And you put it against the seam of your half square triangle and you lock it in place. It blocks the lock. And then you just go around and trim it, and it works wonderfully. Okay, but getting ahead of myself here, and I need to concentrate. You don't get as much done in 60 minutes if you're chit-chatting and not paying attention. Okay. This is my favorite stage of the quilting. When I'm making blocks that are small enough to nicely, easily iron. All the cutting's done. Okay. And we have done this before here on Fibercast, haven't we? Half square triangles, so I know it's not new. And I am itching to do something new. I have a doll kit that my sister gave me for Christmas a few years ago. It's by Joe Johnson. I think that's right. I think that's the name of the designer. Anyway, it's to make a doll this big, and I'm thinking I might pull that out. That might be fun. I'm so glad everyone's out there. Hi, Linda Griffin. Oh, to participate. Oh, there you go. At Pat the Quilt Show. Good, 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 good. Poor Pat, that's right. We were talking about her breaking her arms. Yikes. The only person I know who ever did that was my sister's cousin-in-law. I think it's her husband's cousin, Tony. He was on a ladder and fell, and I can remember him breaking both arms. I think I remember that. Oh. Took a nice walk today with a friend over in the Highland, is it Highland Park neighborhood, and there's a new area, and I saw a house, an adorable house, all one level. It's like a long cape, being built by the Gary Sinise Foundation for a retired veteran. I thought that was great. It's actually over right next to Nancy Burdick's house. And there's a big sign there. Lots of people have donated, and the name of the officer is actually on the sign. But that's kind of nice when you see things like that on TV, the Gary Sinise Foundation. Wounded Warrior might be involved, but lots of other veteran assistance programs or foundations are part of it. That's a good one. Boy, eventually I'm gonna have to stand up. Having a lot of rain around here, and it's wonderful for some of the plants. Things certainly are green for the middle of July. I'm so glad that you guys are connecting via chat. This is perfect. Oh. Hi to Christine if she's out there. I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, and we're all going for, hey, Rosemary, hi. Hi. Oh, and Marcella, hello. Tomorrow we are going, oh, Allie, hello, Allie, down under, for ice cream. We're going to meet there. take a little walk to get the ice cream. This is not. There we go. I have 3 quilts to bind. And in this humidity, I've not been putting them on my lap. There we go, finally. Yeah, so I think maybe we'll pull out the doll making. After we do this lap quilt, give our quilting a little rest just for a few weeks. That's a pretty one. Purples. I bought these Kaffe fabrics up at the Portsmouth Fabric Company, and they came in a bundle. I am a new Kaffe user, and I've not ever ventured into picking out my own grouping of them. I'd like to be able to do that. I think I have to wait for my sister to come to town. Take her on a road trip. It's really beautiful up there. Has anyone been having internet troubles? I'm curious. We've been Xfinity Comcast seems to have changed something with the new month up here. And we just don't seem to have the oomph in our router. So where we used to be able to see things downstairs, even though our router and modem was upstairs, now we're not able to. The signal's not as strong, or it breaks. It'll be working fine and then it won't. There we go. They're getting there. Oh, these two will go right next to each other. We'll have to change that, won't we? They're the same block. Stop it. Oh, I was so frustrated. The deer have found my garden. And yes, I have, over the last month, I've been squirting with the deer and rabbit repellent, which is expensive. I got 2 different kinds, and I interchange. So one week I'll do one, the other week I'll do the other. And I discovered that they'd eaten my big yellow lilies, chomped them right off, and then all the orange lilies that hadn't even started to bloom. And I went out this afternoon and I sprayed everything, and then don't you know, a rainstorm came through. So I'll have to go out and do that again tomorrow. Hashtag COVID life. I can't believe I have time to do this. See how these two are the same? Put that there for now. And then I love these bright ones. Don't you love this with the, it's like a bright coral and pink. I think they're just brilliant how they put these colors together. Oh, I know. I started to watch that show Schitt's Creek. SCHITT''S. It's on Netflix. So thank you, Jean, I think recommended it to me. And it is a light, funny comedy. Probably not for kids, but it's funny. Then we're watching The Politician. So that's another one. Bette Midler in The Politician is a riot. Hi, Sue and Karen, if you're out there. Hello. Sarah and Pat. How about school sports or professional sports? Won't it be interesting to watch what happens here in America? Oh, I liked that up here. Taking that down. Let's. Ooh, there we go. Ooh, The Last Kingdom on Netflix. Oh boy. Let's see. KB, I had fantasies of sending you this color theory book. It might help with your collaging. That's what I was thinking. Oh, I wish I had more to say. Our neighbor is home. Lucille is home from the Dominican. She is a missionary down in the Dominican Republic. And she was able to catch a flight home. So that was good. She's quarantining. I haven't seen her up close. She's quarantining for 14 days, which is good. Is anyone out there a teacher? I think what we are asking of our teachers is an awful lot. Between last fall, I think I've talked about this. teaching in person and then teaching electronically on the internet. Having to do both, it's a lot. Oh, you don't need to see that. So, kind of embarrassed to show you some of these seams. They're so scant. I did that because I wanted to make sure I had enough extra to square up. So let me show you this. I probably should do that again. Can you see that? That's 1/8 of an inch, if that. It's probably hard to see, but I can come up here and I can say hi to everyone. Oh, Allie, you're a retired teacher. I remember that. Happily retired. Amen. Kathy Kettleson. I don't know if she's out there. She also is retired, I'm pretty sure. But she suggested something online today that gave me pause, which is, let's say COVID does necessitate some of our children staying home, which unfortunately, I think it might. They won't be in classes, in physical classes nearly as often. There is a lot of creative horsepower of people staying at home that we should tap into for our kids. Whether, maybe even for an online Zoom type of class, but just to give them more variety, more people to interact with. You know, like an hour with my mother, or half an hour, or you could make it 20 minutes. That would be gold. Whether you're talking about birds or plants, gardening, or doing an experiment, like Michelle over in Milford, she said her granddaughter's going to be homeschooled, and she is a retired nurse. And so she's going to do some science classes with her grandchildren. I know this isn't ideal, and I know you need a curriculum, and I know it sounds amateurish, but I think there's something there. There's something to it, and I think it would help everyone. I'll give you an example. Today, I had a new customer come, and she came up. She reached out to me via email several times, and she asked me for my pricing over the last few weeks. And she said she had moved from New Jersey to Falmouth, and she's Kate Can Quilt. Kate Can Quilt. She's on Facebook, and she does t-shirt quilts. And she's looking for a long armor to help her with her t-shirt quilts. And of course, I wanted to do that. So we ultimately, we agreed that I would do a couple for her, and I'm thrilled to do it. And she came up. Oh, so through the back and forth, when she said she moved, I thought she was probably a young mother. That was my guess. I didn't ask. Turns out she's a senior in college. She goes to Penn State, and she was adorable. And she was just taking it in stride. She actually had moved to the Cape with her parents. Her parents had sold their house March 16th, the day the world changed, and in New Jersey. And of course, she came home from college, and so she's now on the Cape. And she said, it's part of my story She's taking it in stride. She's being flexible. She doesn't think she'll go back to college this fall, be able to. She's a senior in college. Hopefully she'll be able to go back in the spring. But anyway, I was so taken with this human being, and we were very socially distant. We were doing our distancing. We both had masks on and all of that. But I was delighted to talk to someone who was doing something completely different, and she must have thought I was a crazy old lady because I just was so interested. She goes to the main campus of Penn State. So imagine all these kids that are out there that we could somehow connect with other people that aren't usually in their lives. Anyway, on and on I'd go. La da da da. So if anyone's on the Cape and they need a t-shirt quilt, I have a connection for you. Kate, Kate, can quilt. I think these are no, they were pinwheels. This is probably one of the first blocks I ever made. Or 4-patch is probably what I made. Oh, look at this. This is wrong. And as is this. This is one of those quilts I definitely am going to have to triple check before I sew it together. Oh, hi to Cousin Ray if you're out there, and Ben and Davies and Allie. And to Tim and Lindsay with their new puppy, a golden retriever. And to Drew and Molly. And is it Joanne and Tim? I hope I've got that right. Speaking of New Jersey. Oh, and speaking of puppies, guess who went to look at one last weekend? I buried the lead. 30 minutes in, 35 minutes in. Forgot to tell you. I didn't get one. We didn't get one. Bob and I both went. And we went out to look at 2 Yorkie poos. So a Yorkshire Terrier and a poodle get together. They had a date. And yeah, golden retriever would be lovely. I'm kind of seeing the comments. I can half see them, which is, hi, Carol Bell. My niece and nephew got a golden retriever. They went out on the 4th of July. They had to go to Ohio to retrieve their golden retriever. And he's adorable. I'm looking for a little one that never gets bigger than a golden retriever puppy. I'm 95% sure I want a Maltese a Maltese and a poodle. So we go out to Albany, New York. We look at these Yorkie poos. There were 2 of them, a boy and a girl. They were tiny, but they just weren't what I was looking for. They had longer hair. They had a narrower snout like a poodle, and they just weren't what I was looking for. Of course, the breeder had some Havanese, which are adorable dogs. Those are beautiful dogs. They might be a little bit more active than what I'm looking for, or just more feisty. And this is the other thing. I've never had a small dog, so I really don't know what they're like. And so we looked at the Havanese. They were all darker. They were black. Oh, I'm so glad Kimberly's out there. I love this. We're meeting someone new. So we came home with no puppy. That was the end of it. If anyone knows of a Maltipoo, a cream Maltipoo, call me. They're very hard to find. Oh. Another pretty one. Oop. Oh, but that stuck. This is kind of slow sewing. Slow sewing, slow going. But I guess we're making progress. One thing about Kaffe is it does shed a little bit. Ooh, hello. This goes over there. Tell you this block lock helps the squares go together nicely. More of my seams are matching up than normal. Famous last words. Oh yes, KB just sent me something. KB says, can you show everyone the color book and title? I would be happy to. So this is a color book that my sister gave me for Christmas, and it's called Color Problems, a Practical Manual for the Lay Student of Color by Emily Noyes Vanderpoel. Is that what you wanted? And it is quite old, but it's so cool. Check this out. Here's Emily Noyes Vanderpoel in her New York studio. So back in the early 1900s, we've needed to create forever, haven't we? That's courtesy of the Litchfield Historical Society. Let me tell you when this was written, 1901. Oh, and here she is with cousin Cora Underhill Lowe and sons. So let me see if I can read you a brief description of this. Is this what you wanted, KB? Can you show the color, book title, and author? Yep. And Vanderpoel's delightfully inscrutable work is an artifact from out of time. Abstract modernism born of the Victorian need to classify everything, even the mundane. Lisa Daly, creator of the Vanderbot. I wonder what that is. Sounds like maybe it's an app that does some sort of coloring. It is way over my head. I am going to send this back to my sister. Okay, spectral red disc for experiment in compliments. See this red dot? It says gaze steadily at the red disc for 3 minutes, cover it quickly with the preceding blank page without removing the eyes, and you will see its complementary image. Now, I wish they then said why that happens. Something about the cones of your eyes and the reflection of light, right? So if I stare at that for 3 minutes, time lapse, it doesn't look green yet. Time lapse didn't work. Anyway, there's the book. It's got a lot of cool stuff in it. Okay. KB says that's what she needed. Yay! Yeah, so I think the plan for next week is to work on a doll. Start a new project. And if anyone has any ideas for what kind of a doll we make, I'm open. Whether it's a historical figure, we could make Vanderpoel there, Emily. We could do a Santa Claus doll. Let's do one more. That. Maybe 2 more will do. I can't just stop. Okay. KB, thank you for being out there. Oh, Carol. Hi, Carol. She says, I'm so mesmerized by the pattern behind you that I can't figure out what his color should be up or down, right? We're going to have to look at it very closely to make sure. So one half are all these solids, and the other half are the Kaffe fabrics. So I know is it driving you crazy? So all of these prints should be facing that way. Their arrow should be going that way. Boy, I wish we could get together and sew with Deb and Michelle someday, but not anytime soon. Did that work? Okay. Oops. It's not quite a quarter of an inch. I veered off. I think maybe that's a sign that we are done. Okay, that's better. Okay, so next week, this I'll finish this weekend while I'm working on, I have 4 customer quilts here I have to get done this weekend. And I will finish this, and then next Friday, the plan is, you know me, I could change my mind. But let's work on a doll. Let's try something new. And I'm taking... Hi, Kim. Do I have a pattern for the quilt behind me? I don't, but I can tell it to you. I don't have a pattern. I'm making it up. But I can send you the dimensions. You know what I'll do? I'll post the dimensions on the Simply Colorful Mystery Quilt Along page on Facebook. And each of these was a fat quarter. So I'll count how many fat quarters you need. I could do a Facebook Live. I couldn't I, Kim? Should I? I'm going to read all these comments. I love that you all are out there. I can't see them though. So I won't spend all of your time while I put on my glasses and read them. I'm just so thrilled that you're all out there. It really is making a difference in this COVID world. So thanks for keeping me company. I appreciate it. Do something you love. Do something you're good at, because usually you tend to like what you're good at. Help someone in need. Do something to surprise someone. Be safe. We're going to get through this, I promise you. And I'll see you right back here next Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. And I'll see you online. Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining me.